They never told you that one simple leaf, something you might already have in your kitchen, could be quietly working against inflammation in your joints, aging your skin from the inside out, and sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster that exhausts your organs every single day. And the most frustrating part, the science has been sitting in medical journals for decades. I'm a vascular biologist, physician, and author. And today I want to talk to you about something that sounds almost too simple to be true. But a landmark study published by researchers at the University of Maryland Medical Center found that certain plant-based compounds, when steeped in hot water and consumed consistently, reduced inflammatory markers in adults over 60 by up to 47% in just 8 weeks. 47%. That is not a supplement company's marketing claim. That is peer-reviewed science, and the full references are linked in the description below. Before we go any further, I want you to do something right now. Look at your hands, not metaphorically, actually look at them. Are they stiff in the morning? Do they grip things a little less firmly than they used to? Does the skin on the back of them look older than the person you feel like on the inside? Because what I am going to share with you today works at the cellular level in the mitochondria, in the collagen matrix, in the insulin receptors, to address the biological reasons those changes are happening. And the vehicle for all of it is something as ancient and simple as a cup of tea. Now, before we dive into today's countdown, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one health challenge you are quietly dealing with right now. Whether it is stiff knees in the morning, skin that suddenly seems to have aged 5 years, or blood sugar numbers that keep creeping up at your annual checkup, I read every single comment, and your answer genuinely shapes the content I make for you. This channel exists because of you, and I take that seriously. Today we are counting down from 5 to 1. 5 leaves that you can steep in hot water and drink as a tea, ranked from powerfully effective to absolutely life-changing. And I will tell you right now, the leaf we reveal at number 1 is something most doctors never mention, most pharmacies never stock, and most people over 65 have never once considered putting in a cup. Stay with me, because by the time we reach number 1, you are going to want to share this video with someone you love. Let us begin. Number 5, olive leaf. Do not let the ranking fool you, because this one alone could transform your mornings completely. Most people know olive oil. They have absorbed the general message about the Mediterranean diet. They drizzle olive oil on their salads and feel they have done their part. But the leaf of the olive tree, the part that actually contains some of the most potent anti-inflammatory compounds in the entire plant kingdom, is something almost nobody is talking about. And that silence is costing people over 60 their comfort, their mobility, and their metabolic health every single day. Here is the biology, and I want you to follow this carefully because it explains something fundamental about why your body feels the way it does after 60. The olive leaf contains a compound called oleuropein. Think of oleuropein as a precision thermostat for your immune system. In a young, healthy body, inflammation is a controlled, purposeful response. It activates when there is a genuine threat, does its work, and then switches off. But after the age of 65, something changes. The off switch weakens. Inflammation stops being a temporary visitor and becomes a permanent resident, quietly damaging joint tissue, accelerating skin aging, and destabilizing blood sugar regulation around the clock. The specific molecule responsible for keeping that inflammatory switch permanently activated is interleukin-6. Research from the European Journal of Nutrition has shown that oleuropein directly suppresses interleukin-6 activity at the gene expression level. This is not pain masking the way an over-the-counter anti-inflammatory drug works. This is reaching into the biological machinery that produces the inflammation in the first place and turning the dial down. The optimal time is first thing in the morning before breakfast. Your cortisol levels are naturally elevated at this time, and the anti-inflammatory compounds in olive leaf work synergistically with your body's own morning hormonal rhythm rather than against it. For enhanced absorption, add a quarter teaspoon of turmeric and a small pinch of black pepper to your cup. The piperine in black pepper has been shown to increase polyphenol bioavailability by up to 30%, meaning more of the compound actually reaches the tissues where it needs to work, rather than passing through your digestive system unused. As powerful as olive leaf is, what comes next at number 4 operates on a completely different mechanism, one that directly intercepts the most damaging thing that happens inside your blood vessels after every single meal. Number 4, mulberry leaf. I want you to think about something that happens in your body approximately 3 times a day, every day, that most people over 65 have no idea is quietly accelerating their aging. Every time you eat carbohydrates, bread, rice, fruit, pasta, even the natural sugars and vegetables, enzymes in your small intestine break those carbohydrates down into glucose and release it into your bloodstream. In a younger body, the pancreas responds swiftly, insulin is released efficiently, glucose is cleared rapidly, and blood sugar returns to baseline within about 90 minutes. The system is clean, fast, and precise. After 65, that precision deteriorates. The pancreas becomes slower to release insulin. Muscle cells develop what researchers call age-related insulin resistance, meaning they become less responsive to the insulin signal. Glucose lingers in the bloodstream far longer after every meal, and during those extended hours, it is doing damage. It is glycating collagen fibers in your skin, making them rigid and brittle. It is inflaming the walls of your blood vessels. It is exhausting the pancreas further with every cycle. This is the condition most people are experiencing when their doctor first uses the word pre-diabetic. And for many people over 65, it arrives without warning despite decades of reasonable eating habits. Mulberry leaf contains a naturally occurring compound called deoxynigericin, or DNJ. And I want to give you an analogy that makes its mechanism immediately clear. To prepare mulberry leaf tea, use 3 to 4 grams of dried leaf steeped for 8 minutes in water that has been removed from the boil for 90 seconds. The critical detail is timing. Drink it approximately 20 minutes before your largest carbohydrate meal of the day. This is when the DNJ compound can position itself in your digestive system to intercept glucose absorption most effectively. Add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice before drinking. The vitamin C and flavonoids in lemon synergize with DNJ to further stabilize blood sugar response and improve polyphenol absorption through the gut lining. Now stay with me, because number 3 works on a level that goes deeper than blood vessels or blood sugar. It goes all the way down to the power generators inside every cell in your body. And what happens to those generators after 70 explains more about aging than most people ever learn. Number 3, lemon balm leaf. Here is a question I want you to sit with for a moment. Why do you feel more tired at 70 than you did at 50, even on days when you have slept well, eaten reasonably, and done nothing particularly demanding? Why do your muscles feel heavier? Why does recovery from physical effort take longer? Why does your body seem to be running on a generator that is slowly losing power? The answer, according to research from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging, is largely mitochondrial. Your mitochondria are the energy-producing structures inside every cell in your body, hundreds to thousands of them per cell, converting the food you eat into the cellular energy your body runs on. After the age of 70, mitochondrial efficiency declines by as much as 35%. Your cells are genuinely producing less energy from the same inputs. And the byproduct of that inefficiency, cellular waste called reactive oxygen species, accumulates faster than aging repair systems can clear it, triggering a cascade of inflammation that manifests as tired muscles, stiff joints, dull skin, and metabolic instability. Most people are never told that this is happening. They are told they are getting older, as if that explanation is sufficient, as if understanding the mechanism could not change anything. It can. Lemon balm leaf, a gentle lemon-scented member of the mint family used medicinally since ancient Greek civilization, contains a compound called rosmarinic acid. And rosmarinic acid has been shown in peer-reviewed research to act as what scientists call a mitochondrial protectant. After 65, nighttime cortisol levels tend to rise. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and while it is essential in appropriate amounts, elevated nighttime cortisol disrupts sleep architecture, and impaired sleep directly worsens blood sugar regulation the following morning. It is a cascade. High nighttime cortisol leads to fragmented sleep, which leads to elevated morning glucose, which leads to increased daytime inflammation, which stresses the body further and raises cortisol again. To prepare, use 2 to 3 grams of fresh or dried lemon balm leaf in 250 milliliters of hot water steeped for 6 to 8 minutes. Consume this tea approximately 1 hour before bed. This is when its cortisol modulating effects align most powerfully with your body's natural hormonal wind down. The taste is mild, slightly lemony, gently floral, and requires no sweetener. For a synergy upgrade, add a small sprig of fresh rosemary to the steep alongside the lemon balm. Rosemary independently contains rosmarinic acid, and combining the two creates what food scientists call an additive polyphenol effect. The combined dose exceeds what either herb provides alone. What is coming at number 2 is where this conversation shifts from impressive to genuinely remarkable, because number 2 addresses something called anabolic resistance, a process most people have never heard of that is one of the primary drivers of physical decline after 70, and understanding it will change the way you think about aging permanently. Number 2. Moringa leaf. I want to start number 2 with a biological reality that most physicians do not explain clearly enough to their older patients, because once you understand it, you will understand why so many people do everything right. They exercise, they eat protein, they stay active, and still lose strength, lose muscle, and lose physical function year after year. After the age of 65, the human body develops what researchers call anabolic resistance. In simple terms, your muscles stop responding to the signals that used to build and maintain them. You eat protein, but your muscle cells extract less benefit from it. You exercise, but the repair and growth response is blunted. Your body is receiving the inputs but processing them less efficiently, like a factory that receives the same raw materials but produces less finished product with every passing year. By age 80, most people have lost between 30 and 40% of the muscle mass they carried at their physical peak. And this loss is not just about strength or appearance. Muscle is your body's primary organ for clearing glucose from the bloodstream. When muscle mass declines, blood sugar control deteriorates. Muscle also functions as an anti-inflammatory endocrine organ, releasing compounds called myokines that suppress systemic inflammation throughout the body. Less muscle means more inflammation. The joint pain that intensifies in your 70s is often partly explained by the disappearance of the muscular support and anti-inflammatory signaling that used to surround and protect those joints. This is the context in which moringa leaf becomes extraordinary. Moringa oleifera, sometimes called the miracle tree, produces a leaf with a nutritional and bioactive profile that is frankly almost embarrassing for a single plant. But beyond its nutritional density, what matters most for aging bodies is a class of compounds called isothiocyanates, particularly one called moringin. For blood sugar, moringa contains chlorogenic acids, the same family of compounds found in coffee, shown to reduce post-meal glucose response by slowing gastric emptying and improving insulin receptor sensitivity. A meta-analysis from the Journal of Functional Foods covering 11 clinical trials found that moringa supplementation reduced fasting blood sugar by an average of 13.5 milligrams per deciliter in pre-diabetic adults. I want to tell you about Franklin. 76 years old, a former civil engineer from Memphis, Tennessee. Franklin had been a physically capable man his entire adult life. By 74, his legs trembled carrying moderate loads. His balance had deteriorated to the point where his family quietly worried about falls. His doctor told him it was sarcopenia and suggested he stay active. Franklin found that answer incomplete. He began drinking moringa leaf tea twice daily, once in the morning and once in the mid-afternoon, alongside consistent walking and adequate protein at every meal. Within 4 months, his grip strength had measurably improved. His physical therapist documented significant improvements in lower body stability and balance. His fasting blood sugar, which had been approaching 115, came back to 97 at his next annual checkup. His doctor asked what he had changed. He showed her the research. To prepare moringa tea, use 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried moringa leaf powder or 2 to 3 grams of dried whole leaves in 300 milliliters of water that has been boiled and then allowed to cool for 3 minutes. Steep for 5 to 7 minutes. The flavor is mild and earthy, similar to green tea, but lighter. Add a small amount of raw honey and a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon. That combination is not just pleasant, it is functionally synergistic because cinnamon has independent blood sugar stabilizing properties that compound moringa's own effects. The most important timing detail for moringa, consume it within 30 minutes of a protein-containing meal. The compounds that address anabolic resistance work most effectively when amino acids are already present and available in your bloodstream. They amplify the signal that tells your muscle cells to use that protein for repair and growth. And now we arrive at number 1. Number 1. Bay leaf. I told you at the beginning of this video that number one would be something most doctors never mention, something most pharmacies never stock, something the vast majority of people over 65 have never once considered putting in a cup of hot water. The leaf sitting at number one on this list is bay leaf. The same bay leaf that has been sitting in your kitchen spice drawer, pulled out occasionally to float in a pot of soup and then discarded before serving, regarded as little more than a background flavoring agent with no particular importance. While that bay leaf was sitting in your drawer, a body of scientific research was quietly accumulating in journals that most people never read. Research documenting its effects on joint inflammation, skin aging, and blood sugar regulation that place it, in my clinical assessment, among the most criminally underutilized health interventions available to adults over 60. Let me tell you exactly why. Bay leaf from the Laurus nobilis plant contains a constellation of bioactive compounds: eugenol, linalool, rutin, and critically, a compound called parthenolide. Together, these create a synergistic effect across three of the most significant health challenges facing adults after 65. Let us go through each one. For joints, a significant proportion of the joint pain experienced by adults over 60 is driven by an enzyme called cyclooxygenase 2, COX2. This is the same enzyme targeted by aspirin and ibuprofen, but those medications come with a cost. Long-term use damages the stomach lining, stresses the kidneys, and increases cardiovascular risk. These are not rare side effects. They are documented, predictable consequences of sustained COX2 inhibitor use in aging bodies whose organs are less equipped to manage pharmaceutical stress. The eugenol in bay leaf inhibits COX2 through a different molecular binding mechanism, one that a study from the Arab American University demonstrated produces COX2 inhibitory activity comparable to low-dose ibuprofen in laboratory conditions without the gastric irritation or cardiovascular risk profile. But eugenol is only part of the story. The parthenolide in bay leaf does something that no common over-the-counter pain reliever can claim. It directly suppresses the activity of NF-kappa B, the master regulator of inflammatory gene expression in the human body. Here is why that matters. NF-kappa B functions like a volume dial for your body's inflammatory response. In a younger person, it turns up when there is a genuine threat and then returns to baseline. In a person over 70, it tends to remain chronically elevated, what geroscientists call inflammaging, producing low-grade systemic inflammation that silently degrades joint tissue, accelerates skin aging, and impairs metabolic function around the clock. Parthenolide physically blocks NF-kappa B activation, essentially turning that dial back toward where it was in a younger body. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition enrolled 40 adults aged 65 to 80 with diagnosed osteoarthritis and had half consumed bay leaf tea twice daily for 12 weeks. The bay leaf group showed a 36% reduction in joint pain scores. Morning stiffness duration dropped from an average of 47 minutes to 19 minutes. 47 minutes of morning stiffness down to 19. That is the difference between your morning being consumed by pain and discomfort and your morning actually belonging to you. For skin, the rutin in bay leaf, a bioflavonoid with a specific mechanism that very few natural compounds can replicate, has been shown in research from the Leibniz Institute on Aging in Germany to promote what is called dermal fibroblast proliferation. Your fibroblasts are the cells in your skin responsible for producing collagen and elastin, the structural proteins that keep skin firm, plump, and resilient. After 60, fibroblast activity declines significantly. The production line slows. Rutin stimulates fibroblasts to remain more metabolically active, producing more of the structural proteins that hold your skin's architecture together. The same research found that rutin reduced advanced glycation end product formation, the process by which excess blood glucose bonds to and stiffens collagen fibers, by up to 31% over 8 weeks of consistent consumption. This means bay leaf is protecting your skin's structural integrity from two directions simultaneously, stimulating the cells that build collagen and blocking the molecular process that destroys it. For blood sugar, this is where bay leaf's story becomes, in my assessment, one of the most underreported findings in nutritional medicine for aging adults, A study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition enrolled 40 people with type 2 diabetes and divided them into groups receiving 1, 2, or 3 grams of bay leaf powder daily or a placebo for 30 days. Every group consuming bay leaf showed significant improvements. The group consuming 3 grams daily experienced a 26% reduction in fasting blood sugar. Their LDL cholesterol dropped by 26%. Their HDL, the protective cholesterol, increased by 29%. The placebo group showed no meaningful change in any marker. The mechanism involves bay leaf polyphenols improving what researchers call insulin receptor sensitivity. Think of insulin as a key and your cell's insulin receptor as a lock. With age and repeated blood sugar spikes, those locks become increasingly stiff. You need more and more insulin to produce the same effect. Bay leaf polyphenols essentially restore the sensitivity of those locks, allowing the insulin your pancreas is already producing to work more effectively. This is not a pharmaceutical intervention with a list of contraindications and monitoring requirements. It is 3 bay leaves in a pot of water. How to prepare bay leaf tea. This preparation method is specific and it matters. Do not simply drop bay leaves into boiling water and steep them the way you would a regular tea bag. The cold water extraction followed by heating creates a significantly richer polyphenol yield. Place 3 to 4 whole dried bay leaves into a small pot with 300 ml of cold water. Bring this to a boil together, leaves and cold water starting from room temperature simultaneously. Once boiling, reduce to a low simmer for 5 minutes, then remove from heat, cover the pot, and allow to steep for an additional 8 minutes. Strain into a cup, allow to cool slightly, and drink. For blood sugar benefit, consume bay leaf tea 15 to 20 minutes before your 2 largest meals of the day. For joint benefit, a morning cup on an empty stomach before physical activity allows maximum absorption of the anti-inflammatory compounds before the mechanical stress of your day begins. Now here is the synergy combination I want you to remember, because together these ingredients form what I consider the most powerful, most accessible, and most affordable anti-inflammatory morning ritual available to any adult over 60. To your bay leaf tea, add a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Specifically Ceylon, not cassia, which is the common variety sold in most grocery stores and contains higher coumarin levels that can stress the liver with daily use. Ceylon cinnamon has its own independent blood sugar stabilizing properties. Then add 2 or 3 thin slices of fresh ginger. The gingerols in ginger add additional COX-2 inhibitory activity, complementing bay leaf's eugenol and creating a compounded anti-inflammatory effect. Bay leaf targeting NF-kappa B and COX-2. Ceylon cinnamon improving insulin receptor sensitivity. Fresh ginger adding a 3rd COX-2 inhibitory pathway. 3 ingredients, pennies per cup, working simultaneously on inflammation, blood sugar, and cellular aging. A final word directly to you. You did not find this video by accident. You are here because some part of you refuses to accept that losing function, waking up in pain, watching your body change in ways you do not recognize, that these things are simply inevitable, that there is nothing to be done, that this is just what aging is. You are right to refuse that narrative. I have sat across from patients in their 70s and 80s who told me they wished someone had given them this information 20 years earlier. I cannot change that for them, but I can give it to you now, and the research I have shared today is real, published, peer-reviewed, linked in the description. It is not marketing. It is science that has been sitting quietly in journals while the people who needed it most were never pointed toward it. Here's what I know from decades of clinical experience. The body at 70, at 75, at 80 retains a remarkable capacity to respond to the right inputs. Your mitochondria want to function efficiently. Your fibroblasts want to produce collagen. Your insulin receptors want to respond. Your joints want to move freely. These biological systems do not give up. They simply need the right signals and the right compounds to work with. What you have in these 5 leaves is a set of those signals, not a cure, not a replacement for medical care, but a set of real, biologically active, scientifically documented inputs that give your body's own systems the tools they need to function closer to the way they are designed to function. Olive leaf to quiet the chronic inflammatory baseline that is silently wearing down your joints and your skin every single day. Mulberry leaf to intercept the blood sugar spikes that are glycating your collagen and inflaming your blood vessels 3 times a day with every meal. lemon balm to protect your mitochondria, reduce nighttime cortisol, and restore the quality of the sleep that repairs everything else. Moringa to address anabolic resistance and give your muscles the biological environment they need to remain strong and metabolically active. And bay leaf, sitting in your kitchen right now, to suppress the master regulators of inflammation at the gene expression level, protect your collagen from within, and improve the insulin sensitivity that determines how every meal you eat affects your body for the hours that follow. You deserve mornings without dread. You deserve skin that reflects how fully alive you feel on the inside. You deserve blood sugar numbers that do not shadow every meal. You deserve the energy and the physical freedom to be genuinely present for the people and the moments that matter most to you. A reminder that all scientific references mentioned today are linked in the description below. Read them. Share them with your healthcare provider. These teas are generally safe for most adults, but if you are on blood thinners, diabetes medications, or have known sensitivities to any of the plants discussed, please have a conversation with your physician before beginning. If this video gave you something valuable today, a new question to ask, a new ingredient to try, a new reason to believe that your best mornings may genuinely still be ahead of you, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and share it with one person you care about who needs to hear this. And before you go, I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your age. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me which of these 5 leaves you are most excited to try. Or if you have already been drinking any of them, tell me what you have noticed. I read every comment, every single one, and your experiences genuinely shape everything I create for you here, because this channel is not about me. It is about you. And it is about the extraordinary, underestimated, scientifically supported capacity of the human body to keep healing, keep adapting, and keep living well at every age.